I'd like to call the board meeting to order, please. If you would stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everyone, and welcome everyone who's watching at home. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Carter?
Present.
Trustee Mariscal?
Present.
Trustee Kazan?
Present.
Trustee Gett?
Present.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Present.
Trustee DeVore?
Present.
All right, we do have a quorum. Next is approval of the public hearing and meeting minutes from April 6th, 2021. I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion or correction to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. This is a final meeting of the old village board, and then we will recess and then call the new board to order just right after this meeting. But I do have a couple of plaques to present. Thank you, Sarah. So again, welcome everyone. This is somewhat of a bittersweet meeting in a sense that we're bidding farewell to two longtime trustees, excuse me, and welcoming two new trustees. So I'd like to have Diane Mariscal come forward, please. This is, says the Village of Peoria Heights, presented to Trustee Diane Mariscal in appreciation of your service to the community and to the Village of Peoria Heights for her service from 2017 to 2021. Thank you, Diane, for your service.
Thank you.
I'll give you a fist bump.
Oh, yeah, we can't hug. It's been a pleasure. I have learned so much since I got on the board. So for you new members that are coming in, I wish you the best and learn all that you can. It's so rewarding to do things for the community and listen to your constituents. I really recommend that. I have enjoyed my time, and I hope that you guys too. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this new board has to do, and there's so many great and upcoming things coming. I just can't wait to see it. So thank you very much. I've enjoyed my time.
Trustee Carter, would you please join me down here? Thank you. Trustee Cheryl Carter has served 3 terms, finishing up 3 terms.
3 full terms, and then I was appointed, I think, in '08.
So,
Eric Todd's place for 2 years.
and a long-serving trustee, devoted a lot of her time, and like Trustee Mariscal, we're going to miss these 2 ladies for all their knowledge. And this says, from the Village of Peoria Heights, presented to Trustee Cheryl Carter in appreciation of your service to the community and to the Village of Peoria Heights Board of Trustees for your service 2008 to 2021. Thank you, Cheryl, so much.
Okay, well, it is a bittersweet. First of all, and I'll keep it short and simple, I'd really like to thank everyone that had voted for me for the last 3 terms. It's been fun, it's been exciting, and you learn a lot. You learn every time you come up here. So, and I think I've talked to Matt on the phone a couple of times on that part of it. So I wish everybody on the board and everybody out there good luck. Wish you the best, and make Peoria Heights proud of you, and keep it moving forward, because we're in a good spot going that way. But thank you again.
Thank you. Lastly is a trustee who's not leaving us, but he served in the capacity of Mayor Pro Tem. Trustee Gett, could I have you come up, please? Jeff and I and the Gett family have been friends all of our life, and Jeff is staying around, so I'm thankful for that. But Jeff, we want to thank you for your service as Mayor Pro Tem over the last 2 years. This is a job that I intend to rotate every couple of years, and Jeff, in appreciation for your service as Mayor Pro Tem to the Village of Peoria Heights Board of Trustees, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. I'd like to echo our exiting trustees. We got a lot of good things still coming ahead for this village. We're in a really nice position. A lot of other communities wish they were in our position. So all I got to say is I'm looking forward to the next 4 years, and thank you very much.
I left my agenda down there. All right, there being no further business to come before the board, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion. And
Second.
a second. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. We're adjourned, and we will start the next board meeting here shortly. Well, I gotta go get my agenda.
Have any questions, comments?
Where you putting my name at?
You're going to be,
I was thinking about these guys.
You staying right where you're at?
and they're having me.
So you'll be next to Rebecca's sitting best.
It's been a pleasure.
Stephanie, I was freaked out for a minute. I was
Oh, sure. Beth doesn't have to move, the rest of us do. Wear me out. I'm back to my seat I was in before.
We won't let you down. You know me.
Bye, take care.
Oh, was I supposed to leave that there?
Yes. Right here. Okay. Everybody has to move, okay? No, me, Brandon, and Jeff. Okay. Yeah. Agenda. Some of it may look like because you're taking. We're going to have to. Oh, okay. That's really organized. Okay, that's next.
I was getting nervous about him.
Yeah, don't go back. With your stuff. How's it going? Everyone should have a packet, finance circular, and one of these. Everyone got what they need? Looks like. Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
Ready, Stephanie?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mayor.
I'd like to call the village board meeting to order, please. Next, we would proceed to the swearing in. Welcome, Judge Lyons. Who's here?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm Kevin Lyons, and I'm the judge in felony court, so Mike asked me to come. I have was on the village board early in my career in Hannah City. And one event kind of described the entire relationship of the village board. There was a woman who would come about every 3 months and complain about something. It wasn't a big deal, but it was just annoying. And there were 6 members, and there was the mayor. And she would come, and we would have various levels of rolling our eyes. And she would complain about something, and then 3 months later, she'd come in and be something new. I was just about off the board when this woman, who I'll call Vivian, because her name is Vivian, came for the last time, and she complained and complained and complained. And I just got ready to say, gee, does she complain about everything? And then she turned to the mayor and said, and Harold, I'm not just saying that because you're my nephew. I thought, Vivian, you should have led with that. For a year, you led us down the path that you and Harold were at odds, and now I have to go back and search what I've said about you and what I've said about you in front of him. The village board of Peoria Heights, I think, is like many village boards. And the village of Peoria Heights is like many villages. You know as much as you want to know, and they know a lot about you before you know what they know. It's important because the old saying is people will vote with their hand or they'll vote with their money. But in a village, people vote with their feet. They live where they want to live, and they leave if they feel like they need to leave. That hasn't happened here, and whoever just said other villages would envy us, they certainly do. And it's a privilege for me to be here and swear these folks in. I thought we'd start with Stephanie. Everybody looks alike, you know now. It's the guy with the mask. Every day, somebody stands in front of me. That means if there's stands in front of me and they'll say something, and it's a full courtroom, and finally it'll occur to me that they're speaking to me, and I'll say, I didn't hear you. And then they'll say it again, and then I'll say, well, I didn't hear you, and then I'll say, okay, I heard you, and then the court reporter will say, I didn't hear you. It's like my dad all over again. So I could see this at one time. All right, the village clerk is the person who is really the brains of the outfit, Stephanie says. And I want to have you simply repeat after me. So if you'll raise your right hand, and when I say state your name, don't say the word state your name, say your name. I state your name.
I, Stephanie Turner,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of village clerk,
the duties of village clerk,
and that I will do so at all times
and that I will do so at all times
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You don't have some words to say?
I just wanted to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed the last 2 years being village clerk, and I'm very grateful that the residents of the village chose to re-elect me into this position. And much like Trustee Gatt, I am looking forward to the next 4 years and all the things that the village will accomplish in that time.
All right, let's set these aside. Now, if I can have the trustees or the village board members, we'll call them.
Trustee Gatt, if you would come forward, you're next.
And you saw the lead act, so if you'll follow along. And then, let me make sure I'm in the right place. All right, if you'll raise your right hand, Jeff. I state your name,
I, Jeff Gatt,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of trustee
the duties of trustee
of the village board
of village board,
and that I will do so at all times
and I will do so at all times
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Jeff. I'd shake your hand if we should. I've spent my career shaking hands, and now we don't.
I think I shot my load the first time. Like I said, things are really looking up for Peoria Heights, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years. So, welcome on board to the 2 new trustees, and thank you.
David? You'll stand here, about 6.5 feet away. And if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, David Markell,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois.
and that I will faithfully
I will
discharge
faithfully discharge
the duties of village trustee,
the duties of village trustee.
and that I will do so at all
I will
times
do so at all times
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. I'm really excited for this opportunity. I had a lot of interest running for public office. Unfortunately, I spent my entire adult lifehood working for city government up until this past January when I went to the private sector, and it worked out perfect as far as timing to run. I think I bring a unique perspective to the village board, working for the city government, in particular the village of Peoria Heights, for 16 years of my adult life. I've worked from anywhere from a police dispatcher for the village to a public works laborer to a water superintendent. So I feel like I have a knowledge of the daily operations, or how the village operates. At least I think I do. And I hope to use that perspective to make good, sound decisions for the village and its citizens. Thank you.
If you'll stand here. You never have enough lawyers. All right, Matt, if you'll raise your right hand. And if you'll repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Matt Wigington,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois.
and that I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of village trustee,
the duties of village trustee,
and that I will do so
and I will do so
at all times according
at all times according
to the best of my
to
abilities.
the best of my ability.
Congratulations to you.
Well, I want to start by thanking Judge Lyons. Thank you for coming and administering the oath to me. That means a lot. I also want to thank the outgoing board. Really been a lot of mentors on the board, so I appreciate that. Mayor has been a real driving force for me, so I look forward to working with you, Mr. Mayor, as well as you, Chief Sutton, and the rest of the board members here to hopefully continue the momentum that you all have built these last 4 years and prior. One of the joys that I had with running was meeting a lot of constituents out and working. I recognized some people out there and had a lot of help, and I appreciate the trust that this village has placed in me as a person new to the village, and that means a lot, and I will be in debt to you and hopefully live up to your expectations. So again, I appreciate that and look forward to hopefully making the village continue that upward momentum that you guys have been doing. So thank you.
Mike, if you'll come down, and as we begin, let me say, how would I say this without offending my parents? I spent the greater part of my adult career criticizing my parents. Oh, why do they make me do this? And why can't they learn the internet? And why, and on and on and on. And then as I would get older, that would be now, it would occur to me that my parents really had made some wise decisions. Now, you may not have anything to do with Hannah City, but imagine where would I have gone if I wasn't raised in Hannah City. My world was Murphy Road and Pekin Lane. That was it. I didn't have a car, couldn't drive, I was only 11. But that's the world that I learned. People go there because they want to. My parents, I don't know why, moved us to Hannah City, and it became my world. So whatever the decisions are that you make now, and you say, well, what my mortgage rate or my street address, the fact that you choose to where you are affects generations. And it shouldn't be lost on you, because everybody does things in life that they really want to do. The other things, maybe not. So choosing to live in a safe and sound place is important, certainly for your children. And Mike, I remember, too many stories. Mike, I remember when I first met your mother and father, it was a long time ago. They said, you know, you really should go put a, this is in 1987. They said, you should go put a sign in Ed Phelan's yard. I said, who's Ed Phelan? Oh. They said, really? And they gave me the address on Atlantic. I took my sign and I got to Atlantic, and it was this little tiny front yard, and it had to have at least 15 signs in it. It could hold about 4, and it had mostly, that year, Republicans. I'm all for Republicans. I'm all for Democrats. But I was running as a Democrat, and I thought, I've come to the wrong place. I go in and I meet Ed Phelan, who I thought was Tip O'Neill, and I asked if I could put a sign in. He said, yes, put a sign, put it right there in the front. I said, but it's a Democrat. He said, well, I don't really care. He said, I was a Democrat once. And I said, oh, all right. And every time it would become time for election time, Ed and Lou would have me do that. Now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you've had the door shut in your face, having it open for you is a nice thing. And so, Mike, I believe you're a lifelong citizen here, right? We'll say that. And it's one of those things that you never think will happen, but I'm glad that it did. Some people leave, some people stay, and I'm glad to see. Come on, Mike, come up here. Now, sometimes they call this village president, but we're going to call him mayor. Sounds much fancier. All right, if you'll raise your right hand. I, and state your name,
I, Michael Phelan,
do solemnly swear
that
that I will support
I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the state of Illinois,
of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Mayor of Peoria Heights,
the duties of Mayor of Peoria Heights,
and that I will do so at all times
and I will do so at all times
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge. Well, it's a great honor to be sworn in by an old friend, Judge Lyons. He and I, as he stated, go way back. There is some risk involved when you ask Kevin to speak, because you never know, with his wit and sense of humor, you never know what he's going to say. Thank you, Judge Lyons. I appreciate that. Thank you all for being here. I want to welcome the people of Peoria Heights and other folks who are in the room tonight. I can't see as well as I used to, and I'm afraid to call people out, but I do want to acknowledge retired State Representative Dave Leach, who's been a mentor of mine for many years. Dave, thank you for being here. Being sworn into this job, I think I have the best job of anyone, anywhere. I love what I do. I can't wait to get to work every day at Village Hall. I love the people I work with. And speaking of the people I work with, I know there are a lot of village employees here today, fire, police. Would you all stand? I see police, fire, public works. Thank you all for all you do. It's an honor to serve with all of you. And again, thanks to everyone, the village residents who are here tonight. As Judge Lyons said, I grew up here in the village. My mom and dad, Ed and Lou, instilled in us a sense of pride in this community. And I remember vividly as a young person going to lots of events in the community, whether it be an alley cleanup or a village cleanup or a village picnic. So those memories have never left me. I love the village as much today as I did then, although it has changed in some ways. So we all are aware of that. 4 years ago, we were dealing mainly with a financial mess that we had to address, and so the first term was spent mainly with financial issues and righting the ship, so to speak. Thanks to a great administrator and great people that work here and a board of directors that made some difficult decisions, we took a $1 million deficit and turned it around this past financial year and have a $700,000 surplus. We've got money in the bank and things are going well. It's not all about the money, of course, but we're very proud of the services we have here in the village on fire and police and public works and administration, and those things take money. So we really did have to focus on that at first. We focus a lot on economic development and business, and I know a lot of the business owners are here tonight. One of the successes of the Heights has been to be able to attract some of the best family-owned businesses anywhere. And if you run a family business here in Peoria Heights, or any business, would you raise your hand? I want to thank you all. Lots of people. Thank you all. So we are dependent mainly on sales tax, not property tax. We get a nickel out of every property tax dollar roughly. So there does have to be an emphasis on the economy. And so we've done that. But my next 4 years, and I think most of the members of the board would agree, what I really want to focus on are the neighborhoods and the infrastructure. So we're going to have a goal-setting session real soon where we're going to prioritize exactly what we want to do. But now is time to get into the neighborhoods to do some real work in the neighborhoods. So we know that we have infrastructure issues. You know, we have some of the best water anywhere from the San Cody Aquifer, but we know the filtration system needs to be improved. We know the water mains need to be updated and improved. We know we need sidewalks, and there are some areas in the village that don't have sidewalks. So all of those things we're going to be paying very close attention to. So again, thank you for being here tonight. We're going to have a very short meeting. I know the newly sworn-in members want to do a little bit of celebrating, and so we'll proceed with the meeting. Okay, first, a few announcements. Council,
Mayor Fallon, we need to call roll. We need to call roll with the new board. We need to call roll.
oh, sorry. We're going to call the roll first.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustee DeVore.
Present.
Trustee Gett.
Present.
Trustee Kazan.
Present.
Trustee Marfell.
Present.
Trustee Wigginton.
Present.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Present.
All present.
All right, we do have everyone present. Council, there are some appointments tonight that I'm going to announce, and there are some appointments tonight that we will vote on. Will you explain how that occurs and what we're going to be doing?
Would you like me to?
Yes, please.
Certainly. The appointments to superintendents and the Public Works Department are not officer positions, which means the mayor makes those decisions without input from the board, although you always seek input, I think, informally. So those are not on the agenda to be voted on. The officer positions, so chief of police, administrator, who am I missing? Mayor Pro Tem and Village Treasurer are all officer positions that will be voted on by the board.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, the first announcement I have is Mike Casey, would you stand, please? I see you over there, but I am appointing Mike Casey as Superintendent of Streets. There's no better person in the village as far as customer service, taking care of people than Mike. So, Mike, thank you for serving in that capacity. Next, Chris Chandler. Chris, we're appointing Chris, who does a whole lot of jobs around Village Hall and does them all very well. Appointing Chris as Superintendent of Water. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
The next are committee assignments, and I'm going to explain those. Madam Clerk or Sarah, would you pass those out if they haven't been done?
They should all have
Everybody
them
have a
already.
copy?
Yes, they do, Mayor.
So because, again, of the refocusing of the village on certain aspects of the government, I've reorganized some of the committees. The first is Administration and Finance, so that will be Trustee DeVore who will head that up. Of course, this committee oversees everything related to administration, but I also am adding the finance piece to that, so I'm hoping that Trustee DeVore and Clerk Turner and Treasurer Cumming all work together and give us regular updates on the finances of the village. Even though we're out of the woods, we want to make sure that we continue to pay attention to that. The next is Public Works. Trustee Marfell will oversee Public Works. I think he's a natural fit for that. No explanation needed. In the past, we had two committees, one that was overseeing fire and one that oversaw the police department. Those will no longer be in existence. I'm creating a committee called Public Safety, and I'm not doing that in any way to diminish from police or fire. I'm doing that to continue to have the administrator and the village board emphasize public safety and the importance of having both police and fire work together. I'm very proud of both our police department and fire department. So Trustee Matt Wigginton will head that committee. The next is Economic Development and Community Development. Trustee Kazam will continue in that role. But this is a caveat, something new. Trustee Weisenberg will be the vice chair of that committee, and I'll come back and explain that after I make the next announcement. I'm creating a committee called Neighborhoods and Parks, and Trustee Weisenberg will head that up, and Trustee Kazam will be the vice chair of that committee. So I am strongly encouraging both of these trustees to work very closely together because we, as I said, have spent a lot of time on economic development, but now it's time to focus on neighborhoods, and I see neighborhoods going in and possibly helping foster communication within the neighborhood, maybe creating some neighborhood associations, talking about beautification. We have a grant request in for $50,000 per home for a housing grant. We've extended our TIF districts and BDD into some of the neighborhoods, so I'm really pushing Trustee Weisenberg, and I know he likes this assignment, to get into the neighborhoods and look at how we improve the quality of life, how we improve the infrastructure in those neighborhoods. So I think these two committees have to function together because economic development should support the quality of life in neighborhoods and vice versa. So I know that these two will do very well in their assignment. Now, a little bit of a change, as I mentioned, all parks except Tower Park will be under Trustee Weisenberg's committees. So Public Works, you will report now to multiple trustees instead of one. I'm also creating a committee because we have some capital needs within the village. Trustee Gett, with his experience in construction, I'm going to ask him to chair a facilities committee, which would oversee Village Hall, Firehouse number 2, the police department. I want a study done on just exactly the long-term capital needs for all of these buildings and grounds. So, and Trustee Gett is now retired, so I expect he'll be getting a few special assignments too when they come his way. All right. Madam Clerk, we do have some correspondence.
We do, just a moment. All right. We have received a letter from Matthew Wigginton, and it reads as follows. Mr. Mayor and members of the Board of Trustees, after the results of the April 6th consolidated general election, I am forced to resign from the Peoria Heights Zoning Board of Appeals. It has been a real honor working with Chairman Pixel and the other members of the ZBA. I believe that the experience that I have gained from the zoning board will be valuable in the future. I very much appreciate you, Mayor Phelan, and the rest of the village board having approved my nomination to the zoning board 2 years ago and having placed your faith in me to serve. I look forward to serving the village of Peoria Heights for my years to come. Best regards, Matthew Wigginton.
All right, anything else?
That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, comments from the audience are open. If anyone would like to address the board, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and keep your remarks under 5 minutes. Any public comment? Going once? Twice? Public comments closed. And before I forget, I knew I would miss someone. I do see Brad Stoutler sitting over there. I think, Brad, he's Congressman LaHood's chief of staff, and Darren has been fantastic as far as customer service to the Village of Peoria Heights, and we have a grant request in that Congressman LaHood has helped us with, and Brad, and greatly appreciate that. So thanks for being here tonight. All right, Chris Setti, you are under a lot of pressure. Presentation regarding the Big Table Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. And by the way, Chris is the executive director of the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council, and we're very interested to hear this, but we're still striving for out of here in less than 30 minutes.
Well, I'm not going to take anywhere close to 30 minutes. So I had said to Mayor Phelan, an unenviable task. Number one, none of you came here to listen to me. And so I very much appreciate your grace in letting me speak. And then number two, I'm probably what's standing between you and some bar or some party somewhere else. So I really appreciate the opportunity, and I will be quick. But this is important, and I try to distill what took us 18 months and written in 52 pages in 10 minutes or less. And so it's, and I'm even going to set a timer for myself so that I know I don't go wrong, too long. My name is Chris Setti. I'm the CEO of the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council, and we are a public-private nonprofit organization that works to advance the economic goals of a 5-county region that includes Peoria County and includes the Village of the Heights. And it's important to think about regional economic development, and I think there's no better place than the Village of Peoria Heights to understand that, because as a small village that's surrounded by a much larger city within then Peoria County, you recognize as a community that your fate is somewhat tied to the rest of the region. But the rest of the region also recognizes the value that Peoria Heights brings to it from a commerce standpoint, from a recreational standpoint, from a residential standpoint. And so it's kind of the perfect example of how regional economic development works. One of the tasks of my organization is to put forth every 5 years an economic development strategy for the region that looks not just at what was good for one particular city, but what's good for the entire region. And this year we just had it adopted by my board and approved by the U.S. Department of Commerce just a couple of weeks ago. And we entitled it the Big Table CEDS, or Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. Some of you may have been involved with the Big Table efforts. In October of 2019 and October 2020 was really a community conversation about what is great about our region and what we still struggle with and need to overcome. So a CEDS is really that. It's a regional plan, and planning is best done at the regional level because the prospects of the Village of Peoria Heights are very much entwined with the prospects of the entire region and vice versa. And there's a couple of different chapters. I would encourage you, I think that Sarah had sent to the board a copy of the strategy or where you can find it, and you can find it at our website, which is greaterpeoriaedc.org. And it's 52 pages, but I will tell you it's an easy 52 pages because we wanted to make it a document that was very readable, very accessible to the public, because it's an important document that we want people to read. There's lots of different parts of this. The real goal behind the whole thing, though, is economic resilience. How do we as a region be resilient in the face of economic pressures? Sometimes that is an amazing economic pressure like we've had in COVID. Sometimes it's the downturn in an economy. Sometimes it's the shrinking of a dominant employer, which we've had in the past, over the past 30 years in the kind of the shrinkage of Caterpillar. You've had here a loss of a major employer in Pabst when it left. So the way you build resiliency in a community is by having more small and medium-sized businesses that can then grow into larger businesses, so that we aren't just dealing with the fate of one large employer and its the cycles that it might go through and the decisions it might go through. So as you look through our comprehensive economic development strategy, what you will see is that is what is the overall goal, is the diversification of our economy. That doesn't eschew the importance of our dominant employers, Caterpillar, OSF, Unity Point, but rather build on top of that so that our economy can be stronger going forward. And kind of throughout that, too, is the idea of innovation and entrepreneurship. Mayor Phelan rightly pointed out that the village of Peoria Heights is a great place for family-owned businesses. But that means that one of you decided to start that business. Maybe it was your parent and you've taken over from your parent, but family-owned businesses are really the heart and soul of this community and can really be the heart and soul of our entire region. A lot of the section of the SEDS is really dedicated to understanding the answer to the question, what is our regional economy? What is it that makes the Peoria area unique from the rest of the country? And it isn't that we have one or two things that no one else in the world has, but it's the combination of the things that we have that make us unique. The fact that we have this amazing river that runs through our community, the natural beauty in our community, the hard work of people who live here, the mix of industries. And so as you go through the SEDS document, you will see this different conversation about what it means to say that we are members of Greater Peoria, the types of people that live here, the type of housing we have, the type of landscape, natural resources that we have. And then there's also what we call a SWOT analysis. I mean, if you've ever done a strategic plan, yours sounds like you're about to go through one, Mayor Phelan and the village board. Really, that the best way to develop a strategy is to first understand where you are strong and where you are weak. These are sometimes things that you don't have any control over, but they are things that are kind of internal to a region. So we did this analysis, and then to also understand where are the opportunities moving forward, and what are the things that we're really worried about, and what are the threats, and those are sometimes external to a region or to an organization. So we went through a whole process of trying to identify some of the strengths and weaknesses, and some of them, if we were to take a poll, some of you would very much understand what some of those strengths and weaknesses are and would probably agree, and we probably could have a debate about some of them. The real meat of this, and the last few minutes I will cover, is really about the actual strategy itself. We've broken this down into 4 different goal areas. The first one is around the economy. Every time I read it, I think I wish I had called it business, not economy, because the whole thing is really about the economy. It's how do we grow our businesses? How do we attract new businesses to the region? But specifically, how do we grow new businesses? So companies like natural fiber welding, bump boxes, Caterpillar, I always say, was once a very small company that relocated here from Stockton, California, and grew up in East Peoria first, and then became what it is. And we need more of that in our community. The second area is workforce, and I think that's on the lips and the hearts and minds of a lot of employers right now, as we see just today Avanti's announced that they're going to have to close one day a week just because of workforce issues. So we know we have a current workforce crisis amongst a lot of our smaller employers, but even our larger employers. But for a long term, how are we developing a pipeline of talent that includes both attracting people to our communities, but also making sure that the people that live in our communities have the skills that they need in order to have living wage jobs that support their families. Highly functioning economies have 60% of their work age people that have some sort of post-secondary credential. That doesn't mean that they have to have a master's degree or even a bachelor's degree, but they might have to have a commercial driver's license or a welding certificate or a CNA. We're at about 40 to 42% in this region. We need to improve on that. The third area is the area I almost like to think of as the village of Peoria Heights area, but it's about quality of place. And I circled on this, and I didn't realize that how the position of the monitor and the screen would be, so I invite you all to read it. But it talks about that we need to be continually focusing on our quality of place. And we are. I moved here 18 years ago, and this is a wonderful community to live in. We need to be able to preserve that. And so when we think about within this goal area, a strategy, increasing investment in the region's town centers, that's not just about downtown Peoria and the warehouse district. That is about what you've done here in the village of Peoria Heights to make a really great town center. And the work that continues to happen with that is important to attract people and to retain people, in a region. And it helps us from a business attraction standpoint. If we get people that come in from out of the state, we drive them up Prospect and say, this is what you can expect in the Peoria area. Promoting affordable housing, and Mayor Phelan discussed just briefly about a grant that they're working on to help increase the value or provide some assistance to people to keep their homes in good condition. And then finally, one of the goals that's in here is about improving the perception of the region. And again, that's, no one's going to love us if we don't love ourselves first. It's kind of a phrase I've used before, and we need to work on our self-perception. And some of the things that the Heights has going for it really helps that. This is a place that people can be proud of. Finally, the last goal area is around our natural resources. We are blessed that, we are in central Illinois, but we are so unlike the rest of central Illinois. We are not flat and boring like Bloomington Normal or Springfield or Champaign-Urbana. They have their own great things, but what we have here is something that's irreplaceable in that we have our natural river. We have the bluffs, amazing farmland. And so what you're doing, what the village is doing, even down along Galena Road, taking advantage of the Illinois River with what we hope to be Alfresco Park and all of the other things with the reconstruction of Route 29 to be more pedestrian and bike friendly is just a very, very important part of a regional strategy going forward that's recognized in the plan. We will have an entire evaluation metrics. The plan is no good. A plan without metrics is just a dream. And so we are going to be building out, and there are a couple of pages within the SEDS about our evaluation framework of how will we know if it's working. We're in the process of building out a website that will display all of this, everything and capture data on employment and jobs and educational outcomes and all of those other things, the amount of investment in towns. So I invite you, we'll be launching that probably in the next 3 months or so as it gets built out. So I don't know how I did there. I might be slightly over 10 minutes, but I did my best. So you did very well. So thank you. I assume that no one has any questions, but I'm happy to stick around for them. But my guess is that with your time frame, you may.
Any quick questions from the board?
And I'm sorry I have my back to you the whole time.
No, that's okay. Chris, the region's lucky to have you serving in the capacity you are, and I know we're going to be working together a lot in the future. So thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, right into new business. A few things, and we pride ourselves in no red tape here in the village, so that's why we're not making people wait another week. We want to get through this tonight. The first is an action item, ordinance 2021-1647, an ordinance changing the zoning classification for certain real property located on East Duryea Avenue in the village of Peoria Heights, Peoria County, Illinois. I'd ask for a motion to approve this.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee Kazam. And a second?
Second.
Council, I'd ask you to set this up, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Zoning Board's been active for the last couple of months. One of the projects is a multifamily project that John Keppel, Company AZ Property 1, is going to be doing on Duryea. And this is the first piece of it, the rezoning. There are two lots adjacent to each other. One of them was zoned industrial. The other one is zoned R3, which is consistent with the surrounding property. So he was asking that we rezone the industrial property to R3. The zoning board unanimously recommended that approval. And you'll see the next item on the agenda is a site plan approval.
So these two are related, these next?
Yeah, same project.
Go ahead with number 2 then, or if you didn't cover any.
Yep, so the next item would be site plan approval for this multifamily. Both lots combined, obviously, will be part of the development. And then the third action item is site plan approval for an unrelated property on Samuel for a single-family home.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I don't see John Keppel or James Kemper here. I don't see either one of them. Okay. All right, any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gatt.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Marfell.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
I abstain.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next is an action item. It's a site plan approval application filed by John Keppel, AZ Property 1 LLC, seeking approval of a site plan for development of a multifamily residential development for the property located at 1013 East Uriah Avenue, Peoria Heights, Illinois, 61616, PIN numbers 14-22, 327-017, and 14-22-327-018, which property is currently zoned I-1 Industrial District and R3 Multi-Family Residential District. Trustee Kazam, I'd ask for a motion to approve this.
I make a motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gatt.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Marfell.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Again, abstain.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next is an action item, a site plan approval application filed by Scott Lewis seeking approval of a site plan for development of a single-family home for the property located at 1324 Samuel Avenue, Peoria Heights, Illinois, 61616, PIN number 14-22-402-027, which property is currently zoned R3 Multi-Family Residential District. Trustee Kazam, I'd ask for a motion to approve this.
I make a motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, Trustee Kazam, would you set this up, please?
Yes, so we heard from Mr. Lewis in the last zoning meeting, Mr. Mayor. As we can all see in our packets, we have the site plan included. Let me see, I don't think the pages are numbered, but it's right after our previous vote. This is the house that sits adjacent to the St. Jude home, just to the east of that house. And this is a private residence, so.
Scott Lewis, are you here tonight? Oh, welcome, Scott. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your plans or any comment?
That's.
No? Okay. All right. Discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gatt.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Marfell.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Abstain.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. We'll be moving on to other business. The first is an action item, the appointment of Mickey O'Neill to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Mickey's bio reads, self-employed civil and structural engineer. He's married with 3 adult children, 2 daughters and 1 son. He and his wife Kelly are upstairs. Mickey, stand up. Mickey's a Peoria native. He moved to Peoria Heights in 2020. He and his wife totally rehabbed a house on Kelly Avenue in Columbus. And he went to Richards High School. He has a degree from the University of Illinois, a BS in Civil and Structural Engineering. His community service is the Peoria Area Community Leadership School, the Peoria Historic Preservation Board, the chairman of the Peoria Area GIS Consortium, and president of the Wardcliff Homeowners Association. And Mickey said, after running here, I've been interested in getting involved in Peoria Heights. I worked as a municipal engineer, so I'm familiar with zoning codes and zoning ordinances. I would ask for a motion to approve that appointment.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gatt.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Marfell.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next is an action item, the appointment of Mr. Kevin Shields to the Airport Authority Board of Commissioners. Kevin, or I don't see you. Oh, there he is. All right. I didn't recognize you with a tie. Kevin Shields is an attorney, a real estate developer, and a small business owner. Kevin obtained his Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Engineering from St. Louis University and his Juris Doctorate from the University of Illinois. Kevin has been practicing law since 2008 and is currently a partner at the firm Merkley & Shields, LLC, in Peoria Heights. As an attorney, Kevin has represented businesses ranging from sole proprietors to Fortune 50 companies, as well as municipalities and not-for-profit entities. Kevin is a member of the Peoria County Bar Association and the Illinois State Bar Association. Kevin is also the owner of Heritage Development Company LLC, the holding company of Heritage Square, which we're very proud of. And I'm going to ad lib a little bit here. Kevin just did a $2.5 million addition to Heritage Square a year and a half, 2 years ago. It's beautiful, it's fully leased, and we're very proud of that. Kevin, as a member of the business community in Peoria Heights, currently serves on the Peoria Heights Economic Development Committee and is the chairman of the Business Development District Advisory Committee. And in his free time, Kevin enjoys spending time with his wife and children. So I would entertain a motion to approve that appointment.
I make a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Marfel.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
That passes. Next is an action item, the appointment of Mr. Bart Cumming as village treasurer, serving from 2021 to 2025. Bart, are you here? There you are, on the way in the back. Bart is currently the village treasurer. He's a tax accountant, has business here in Peoria Heights. He was formerly in retail management for the May department stores, famous bar in Macy's and Kohl's. He's married, the father of triplets, and 2 sons and 1 daughter. He's a third-generation owner of family accounting business, attended Kelly Avenue Grade School, Peoria Heights High School, and Eastern Illinois University, and was a Peoria Heights Village Board member from 2011 to 2017. We know him as the current treasurer and two-time president of the Kiwanis Club, former Chamber of Commerce board member, and treasurer of Duryea Days. And Bart says he wanted to be a marine biologist, but obviously he became an accountant. So we're glad you became an accountant. So I would entertain a motion to appoint Mr. Bart Cumming as village treasurer.
I make a motion to appoint Bart Cumming as treasurer.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Marfel.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
That passes. Next is the appointment of Trustee Sarah DeVore as Mayor Pro Tem. As I mentioned, I thank Trustee Gett earlier for serving in this position. As your mayor does get a little older, sometimes it's nice to have a backup if necessary. I know Trustee DeVore will do a terrific job, especially since she is now chairing administration, and that will have her working closely in tune with both myself and the administrators. So I would ask for a motion to appoint Sarah DeVore as Mayor Pro Tem.
I
I
make
make
a,
Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
In a second, any discussion on the motion? Just I'd like to say, we have some terrific young leaders here in the community. We're really blessed as you look around the room. Sarah contacted me a few years ago. She wanted to get more involved. She's always been involved, but appointed her to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and then recently elected 2 years ago to the Village Board. Just a word of caution to people who are now on the Zoning Board, that this seemed to be kind of a pipeline to the Village Board, but very proud of Sarah and her leadership. So we'd have the motion, a second, correct?
Correct.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Abstain.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Marfel.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next is an action item, actually 2 action items. And council, I'm going to ask you to explain to everyone present exactly what we are going to be doing, and that the mayor does make an appointment and the village board gives a thumbs up or down to that appointment.
Yes, normally these would be separate positions, but because Chief Sutton has served in the administrator position as well as the police chief, it's a combined position. But both the police chief and the village administrator are officer positions that are appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent and approval of the village board. So we've got them down as action items for the board's approval.
Okay, so I would ask for a motion to appoint Chief Dustin T. Sutton as Chief of Police and Village Administrator in the Village of Peoria Heights.
I move to appoint.
All right, have a
Chief.
motion and a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Let me just, if I may, say a few things. I had mentioned earlier that first part of the term, the last term, there were some real difficulties here in Village Hall, and I, without thinking twice, I knew the right person for the job was Dustin. And, at that time, I'm expecting things will be different tonight, but at that time, I had a lot of people, including people on the board at that time, who couldn't understand how a chief of police could be an administrator. Well, in my mind, it all boils down to the fact that he is an effective communicator. He is a very unusual and terrific leader. He has high expectations of the people who work for him, but on the same hand, he's very protective of the people that works for him, and he consequently has a great deal of loyalty from the people in police, fire, administration, and in public works. And I've had the privilege of serving with a lot of terrific people in my time on the county board, time on the Tri-County Planning Commission, and Dustin is one of the best executives that I have ever seen. So he and I work very well together, and sometimes we fight like brothers, but we have the best intention of the village at heart, and he's also one of the most hardest working people that I've ever had the privilege of working with. So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Marfell.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next is an action item, approval of the employment contracts between the Village of Peoria Heights and Chief Dustin T. Sutton. I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion, do I have a second? And a second. Okay, any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Just a moment, Mayor. Trustee DeVore.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Kazam.
Aye.
Trustee Marfell.
Aye.
Trustee Wigginton.
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Now, Mr. Walton, there was one thing I forgot to put on the agenda, and I don't know if you'll give me the liberties of making another announcement, even though it's not on the agenda. It's an appointment that has to deal with village council. Can I go ahead with that?
You can.
All right, well, Mark Walton will continue to serve the Village of Peoria Heights as a village council. So.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, last, before we adjourn, there's another lady that I have seen in the audience tonight, and I could thank all night long a whole bunch of people in the community, but Tanisha Kaysen, would you stand up, please? And Tanisha works at Ting School. She's a village resident, and, as we continue to go through difficult times in the country with very difficult subjects and the civil unrest that the country is experiencing, a lot of us sometimes become, and I know I do, become frustrated because people on both sides of the equation, on the right or the left, sometimes can't have a civil conversation about the topics that the country needs to address and to discuss. So at the height of the civil unrest last year, Tanisha called me and she wanted to come in and have a chat, and we sat down, had a coffee together, and she wanted to have a march in Peoria Heights, and I asked her at that time what she wanted the goals of the march to be, and she told me that she wanted to have a family-oriented march that would bring people together, and that would be peaceful and conclude in Tower Park with her pastor giving a prayer and some words of encouragement to the community. I know there were a lot of people that were very nervous about that at first, but I told her that day if those were the goals, that not only would I would support it, but that I would walk with her, and I did, and we had no problems that day, quite a few hundred people here in the village. But I think, it brought a lot of skeptics out as well, and it proved to me that I go to bed now every night, just like I always did, knowing that we live in the greatest country in the world, and everything will be okay as long as we have citizens like this that continue to peacefully bring people together. So thank you for doing that for us. All right, is there any miscellaneous business coming for the board? Trustee Gett?
Make a motion to adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion to adjourn signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we're adjourned. Thank you all for being here.